Hello and welcome to your weekly card pull. My name is Alexa. Today I'm doing a reading for the week of July 13th through July 19th of 2025. I pulled from two different oracle decks today, so there are quite a few messages, but they all kind of boil down to the same overall two messages. So I pulled from my Moonology oracle deck as well as my Sacred Creators oracle deck. Generally speaking, whenever this one comes up, there's going to be work-related matters, I have found. So some of you may be seeing these themes in your work life, some of you may see these in your personal life, but I would definitely encourage you to be cognizant of the way that you are spending your time and energy. Whatever it is, it's likely something that you've been putting a lot of your energy into. So as you go through this reading, whatever sticks out to you is meant to stick out to you. If anything kind of falls out of your memory or something that you kind of forget or glaze over, don't worry about it. Probably wasn't meant for you. Whatever messages stick out for you though, likely is the one that you are here to hear. So, and if you feel like you need extra guidance, feel free to listen to this multiple times throughout the week. Sometimes the second or third time things can hit a little differently. Okay, so I am going to start out with my Moonology deck. It looks like from this card deck, I pulled three different cards. There is some momentum gaining in the direction of possibly some change. Again, work was an area where there was a lot of emphasis for this. Some of you may be looking at starting a new job, shifting around your job, shifting around your focus in your job, shifting around your roles, duties, and responsibilities at your work. I did get the full moon in Leo card. I got in the reverse, your hard work is paying off, which is the new moon in Capricorn. And then I also got the waxing moon card, which implies that energy is gaining momentum. And the message with full moon in Leo is don't let pride get in your way. So with all of these three cards, it does look like there may be a little bit of personal reflection that you may have to do this upcoming week. You may find that there have been some areas where you've been putting in a lot of work, and that might be where some of this shift is starting to make sense, or again, the energy is gaining momentum card. It looks like whatever it is that you, again, have been putting your energy, your thought, your everything into, is you may be starting to see some shifts materialize, or if you're not seeing it materialize, you may be feeling pushed towards making those changes physically happen. So some of you may feel like, okay, well, now's a really good time for me to take steps and to start planning and to start moving in this direction. I would definitely encourage that you guys take, if you haven't already, some time to set up like a 12-month plan or some kind of, I'm getting a lot of like planning energy and getting prepared for what lies ahead, getting prepared for this next chapter, getting prepared for moving into whatever it is that you're going to be moving into in this next season. If there's any areas or situations where you feel like you are struggling, or you're like, I don't really know how to approach this, or something has been particularly challenging for you, the encouragement of the full moon in Leo of not letting pride get in your way is to bring love into the situation, whatever the situation is. So it may feel challenging. You might feel a temptation to disconnect from your heart right now. There may be things that are really challenging for your heart, or things where you have kind of repressed your emotions. The Sacred Creator Oracle deck brought up a lot about like connectivity with your emotions and your intuition. So a lot of those more water signs, if you have any water signs in your chart especially, you might be noticing those coming out a little bit more right now. So I would definitely advise that any situation you're in, if there's challenge or conflict or has been conflict, do not abandon your heart in the situation. That is going to be a very strong guiding compass for you. Whatever that may look like, that may change, that may remain constant in something. Generally speaking, if your heart is pulled towards something, it's going to be pretty constant, although the form may shift and timing may shift. You may feel drawn to a certain field. For example, I feel like for some of you, if this is like a work change, you may be interested in staying in the same field, and your heart may still be in that field, but the specific position that you're in, or the company you're working for, or the way that, if you're an entrepreneur, the way that you're structuring your life around this sense of purpose may be shifting, but that overall like deeper undercurrent of what brought you here in the first place. I would encourage you to ask yourself that too. Why was I here in the first place? What got me into this work? If you are not familiar with Simon Sinek, he has an amazing TED Talk called Start With Why, I think. And it's all about understanding your why, your greater purpose. Some of you may feel like you've lost touch with that, and losing touch with that may take some of the pizzazz and the excitement and the drive and the passion out of the work that you're doing. So if you are feeling that way and you're feeling like I really need a change, yes, you can make actionable steps. Yes, you can change. Yes, you may be in a position where you are physically taking action on changing something. I would definitely encourage though that throughout that process, you make sure that you stand connected to your heart and what is deeply in your heart. That's going to be a very, 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 very important piece for you. Again, your pride, your ego, and your heart are different things. So stay connected to the deeper piece of yourself. Which brings me, I'm going to come back to this one probably in a minute, but brings me to the next deck that I pulled from. I got 5 cards out of this one, so I'm going to just kind of mesh them all into 1 or 2. The ones that are standing out that kind of relate to this being connected to your heart theme, the theme of Leo, I pulled, and I put a lot of these cards in reverse, so they're going to be upside down. Creator Water, I pulled Integrate Your Knowing, which is all about your intuition, being connected to your intuition. And then the card You Are Light, which also had a lot of themes for intuition. So these 3 cards to me are all kind of pointing towards the same thing, along with this full moon in Leo, that your intuition, your heart, the deeper piece of you and your knowing, those are things that you need to be integrating into your daily life, into your daily actions, your integrity with your words and your actions, and your heart space and your feelings and your emotions is going to be very important if you have been feeling all over the place, up, down, here, there, trying to find where is the consistency in all of this and focusing on that area where there is consistency, again, through your heart and your actions and your mind and what you're saying. The areas that you see consistency in that are the areas that you're going to want to be continuing to work with. Areas where you see inconsistencies are likely invitations for you to say, okay, where am I not fully in alignment? Where can I adjust things? Where can I shift things? Where can I be focusing my energy so that this can work out for my best and highest good, and also for the highest good of all parties that are involved? Again, for some of you, this may be relating to your work, maybe your work relationships, the way that you're going about your work. For some of you, this may be personal relationships, could be a combination of the two. Major overall encouragement, though, for this upcoming week is to pay attention to your emotions. They are not, they're data. They're not necessarily the whole truth and everything but the truth, but they are important. So whether or not your emotions are right or justified or an indication of the greater truth, they are an expression of a truth that you are living in. So pay attention to them. Again, they don't have to rule all of your actions, but the more that you ignore them and push them to the side, the more they're going to get louder and scream at you until you actually pay attention to them and say, okay, what are you here for? What are you trying to tell me? So you don't have to fully do every single thing that your emotions tell you all the time, because you may find that you're a little bit sporadic and erratic if you do that, but pay attention to when they're coming up. What are they saying? Spend a little bit of time with them. If you have been struggling to feel grounded, spend time with those emotions. Do not run away from them. Do not be afraid of them. They are there for a reason, even if the reason is not immediately clear to you. So I would definitely encourage that you allow yourself to sit with those. The Creator Water card is a very big encouragement for you to spend time with the element of water. Again, this can be water signs like Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. This can also be physically around water, so taking a bath, drinking a lot of water, being around the ocean, being at a lake, anything that has water. It is deeply tied to our intuition. If you are having a lot of dreams, if your dreams have been kicking up like mine have lately, and you're having a lot of dreams that involve water, this is a sign to be paying attention to your emotions. Because I pulled a lot of cards in reverse, which is the upside down, anytime cards are pulled in reverse, they can be asking you to look a little bit more deeply within yourself, maybe looking at conflicts you may have within yourself. So if you've been externalizing things, again, a friendly invitation, I can't words today. This is a friendly invitation for you to turn anything that you're externalizing and look at it within yourself. All of your external conflicts, challenges, drives, everything is speaking to something that is internal for you. So anytime that you're looking around being like, why are you the problem? What are you doing wrong? I wish this was better. I wish this was different. Great. Again, acknowledge those things. You don't want to push that away, but also utilize that as an invitation to go one layer deeper within yourself, as opposed to trying to fix and micromanage everything around you. You may find that you have a little bit more peace. Other theme that 2 cards came up that feels very important for you. 1, pulled in the reverse, the edge of evolution feels messy. You may be in a chapter where things just feel messy. They don't feel clean. It can feel frustrating, especially if you, like me, have perfectionistic tendencies, or if you have a Chiron in Virgo. Any perfectionistic sort of energy might be a little bit agitated right now. So again, that may be an emotion that you're dealing with. If that is the case, it is likely because you are in a stage of your evolution that is just going to be messy. It is messy. That's just the way of life sometimes. It's not always going to be pretty. It's not always going to be perfect. You're not always going to have clean lines. This is not a flaw, although it may feel like it is for you. So I would encourage you to have some love and compassion for your path and what's going on if this is the case. Some other main themes with this card. You may find that in terms of your self-care, relating to yourself, you may be in a state where you're needing to trust a little bit more, and maybe you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe there are some new teachings, some new things coming up, and you're like, I don't really know how to integrate this. I don't know how to work with this. You might also be in a state where you have to give yourself permission to fail in order to grow, and that could be the hardest goddamn thing, especially if, again, you have perfectionistic tendencies. You don't want to fail. You don't want to mess up. Failure is a gift. Failure is a way that we learn. I'm speaking to myself as much as I'm speaking to you. So if you are in a situation, you're like, I just don't want to fail. I just don't want to fuck up. My dear, your self-care message is to trust yourself and trust that even when you fail, you are being divinely guided towards the things that are meant for you. If you fail something over and over and over and over and over again, you're probably going to learn a new way of going about it, a new way of doing things that is actually going to work for you. So do not be afraid of those little lessons. Just because you fail once does not mean you are a failure. It means that you have an opportunity to grow and to learn. The second card that I pulled, which kind of goes hand in hand with that, and this one I pulled in the upright, is cozy up with risk. So there is, again, an encouragement to be open to taking risks, to be open to making changes. This, I feel, also goes with the new moon in Capricorn in reverse, as well as the energy is gaining momentum card that I pulled from the other deck. A lot of messages here in the way of being comfortable with taking risks, being comfortable with going out on a limb, being comfortable with, again, the possibility of failure, the chance of failure as being something that is a teacher for you, and to get comfortable with that, and to get comfortable with knowing that those things, again, your fear with the intuition, the water card, with all of the emotional cards, your fear is a message to you. It is not something that you need to fully ignore, but it is also not the thing that needs to be dictating your entire life. I heard a really, really good quote earlier this week, and the quote, I am going to use this as a mantra, and I would encourage you, if it resonates with you, to keep it with you throughout the rest of this week. Fear is not fact, okay? We can have fears. They are insightful. Again, we don't need to fully ignore them because they are telling us something that we need to know, but that does not necessarily mean that it is the gospel. So fear is not fact. Fear is a real thing. It's there for a reason. It's there to protect us. There's a piece of you that wants to protect yourself. If you are afraid of taking risks, that means that you are trying to protect yourself, which is beautiful. It means that you love yourself. If you are feeling like you're stuck in fear, it is a great sign of love, a great sign of love for yourself, for all other parties, if there are other parties involved. That being said, fear is not fact. So you do not have to give in to all of the fears that you have all the time and allow those fears to manage and micromanage your actions and your reactions to things, because it, at the end of the day, again, is just data. It's just information showing you where things might be challenging, might feel sticky. So because I pulled all these cards, you may be seeing very clearly, potentially more clearly than you've seen in the past, wow, this is the fear that I'm holding. This is the fear I have been holding. This is the fear that has been keeping me stuck, keeping me small, causing me to act out of alignment, out of integrity. So be comfortable with looking at those things. Again, cozy up with risk. This is encouraging you to become comfortable with risk, not only to take risk, to cozy up with it, to become comfortable with it, to allow it to exist. I feel like in allowing these fears to exist and allowing yourself to work with them, you might actually be opening up more doors for yourself, probably will be opening up a lot more doors for yourself than if you were constantly trying to avoid them, evade them, not feel those things, not feel the fear because the fear is scary and it's annoying. And so there's a lot of opportunities this week for you to look at your relationship to, namely fear, but other emotions, and to deal with them. I am getting a ping about kidneys. So for those of you who are not super into traditional Chinese medicine, the kidney is the organ that is most heavily tied to the emotion of fear. It's also tied to water. So I'm getting a lot in this arena. If you have a lot of issues with fear, you may notice issues with your kidneys and anything that is tied to that organ. So that would be your balance, your ears, your electrolyte balance, like anything that has to do with water processing in your body. If you've noticed any issues in any of those arenas, I would encourage you to take a look at your relationship to fear as well. For some of you, this may not apply at all, but for some of you, maybe like, oh, that's so funny how all of these things kind of, your body keeps the score. That's all I'm going to say. Body keeps the score. Okay. And then the other thing that I wanted to read, that I felt pulled to read, going back to this other oracle, I told you I was going to come back to this deck. The energy is gaining momentum card with the waxing moon. During the waxing moon cycle, hope springs eternal. The card is a very positive omen, indicating that you can create the reality that you're dreaming of, though it will take some work and you're not quite there yet. So this is a time of energies rising up. Emotions are building too. Again, emotionality, I had mentioned this, emotions, intuition, this water energy is coming up. This is coming up for a reason. This is part of the gaining momentum process. Generally speaking, emotions can be very strong. to push us to take action. Sometimes the discomfort of certain emotions will push us to take action. If you live in fear so long that it becomes a hindrance in your life, or you're noticing physical symptoms because of it or issues because of it, eventually that may push you to take action because it is so uncomfortable to live in those states. So I do feel like a lot of you, some of these emotions are coming up and they're ramping up and maybe feeling like they're getting even louder because they are pushing you, or rather pulling you into a state where you can make the aligned action changes, even the ones that are scary to you. So if you're like, oh, I've been feeling unhappy with my job for a really long time, you might be finding that your emotions when it comes to your work or your physical response to being at work, like these things may be amplifying as a way to almost validate for you, like, yes, this change needs to happen. Here, we're going to give you some more information to show you that these changes need to happen. Whatever those changes are, that's up to you. That's, your journey. That's probably part of what you're going to be looking at. But the overall theme that a lot of us are going to be dealing with, because this is a collective reading, is that energies are rising up, emotions are rising up. They're there to show you something and help you get more in touch with where you want to go and how you want to get there. There's a lot of potential right now. There is also an encouragement to review your goals, make sure that you're still committed to them. If you are not committed to certain goals, or you're like, that's not really important to me right now, make sure you're managing your energy well, so you're not overcommitting to too many things at one time. Life comes in seasons, life comes in stages. You may be in a season where you're like, I have focused all of my last 5 years on my relationships. I want to focus on my work, or vice versa. You may be like, I have been working so hard. I really want to focus on personal relationships right now. You might, most likely, all of us, because this is coming up right now, might be in a season where you're changing what you're focusing on, or you feel called to change what you're focusing on. Again, what I opened with is you might be called to change your purpose, your vocation, your work, whatever. There is a shift happening, or that has been happening, that's bringing you to figure out what your next steps are, because life is ever evolving and ever changing. So if that is the case, my dears, there may be some emotions around this, or maybe some fears around this. Cozy up with risk. Be comfortable with those fears. Know that they're there for a reason. They're not there to stop you. They are there to inform you of things that are important to you. Align with those values. Make sure you're acting in integrity to those values, to those fears, and everything else. And make sure that everything that you're doing is heart-driven. You're making plans. You're acting accordingly. You don't have to act fast on everything, but you do have to be conscientious of where you're at and the direction that you're moving in. And if you don't have to, burn down the whole thing. You don't have to throw out the baby with the bathwater, but starting to take action in alignment in small steps. Baby steps for a lot of you is going to be really important, in the directions that feel authentically good to you, to your soul, to your energy, to your totality, the totality of your being. That's what you're being called to do. Even if, again, it feels risky, it feels scary. There's a very, very strong pull for you in a certain direction. And again, the edge of evolution, feels messy. So if things feel messy, they feel chaotic, it's okay. It's part of the journey. It's not going to be perfect. It's not always going to be pretty. You are doing a beautiful job, especially if you are already noticing and aware of these things and taking action on them. So thank you, my dears, for tuning in. If you have questions, you want clarification on anything, please reach out and let me know. I love you, and I will see you guys next week. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please make sure that you do so. Leave a comment below if this resonated with you. And again, reach out if you need any extra support or guidance. All right, I love you. I'll see you guys next week.